Yes. Welcome, everyone. Cannabis News. I'm your host, Joe Clare. It's June 7th, 2019. The show, as always, is presented by the Marijuana Times. Find us at marijuanatimes.org. Click the video tab to find this show. A bunch of great articles there as well. Social media links and more. marijuanatimes.org. Today, we're talking about the Veterans Administration and how they're treating medical marijuana patients and people in the cannabis industry. Also, Paris Jackson defending her medical marijuana use on Twitter, and marijuana use among baby boomers is way up. Just how far up? We're going to have to wait and see. I'm a professional. I know how to tease these things and make you want to stick around to find out that very vital piece of information. All that's coming up. But first, of course, Cannabis News is brought to you by NatureSide, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Make sure you grow safe and poison-free. Don't use harmful chemicals on what you are growing. Don't use banned pesticides in the state that you are growing in. Make sure you are regulatory compliant. All these things are possible through positive thinking and a trip to NatureSide, nature-side.com, a proud sponsor of Cannabis News. Thank you, NatureSide. This first story from marijuanatimes.org by Julia Granowitz. The VA is denying housing loans to veterans who work with cannabis. I know, it's that. How nice. Such a nice thing. You think that's nice? Listen to the story. A veteran from Massachusetts who's remained anonymous. He was denied his VA guaranteed housing loan when he asked why, he found out the VA doesn't consider the cannabis industry, quote, reliable and stable employment. 35-year-old veteran works as an assistant manager in a cannabis dispensary to support his wife and two, soon-to-be 3 children. They finally felt it was time to make the leap from renting their small apartment to searching for a home to purchase and call their own. After a bit of searching, they finally found the perfect home at a price they could afford. And right when they were set to close on their home, they found out that the VA had denied his application. Unfortunately, this is a problem we can directly tie to the conflict between state and federal laws. The veteran wrote to Representative Catherine Clark about what had happened, and lawmakers then wrote a letter to the VA dated May 13th, requesting a reply clarifying their denial. Clark said in a statement, quote, the VA needs to catch up with the times and recognize the growing role of the cannabis economy, and that employs over 200,000 Americans. Our veterans shouldn't be penalized or denied benefits they have earned because they are working in a budding industry. I don't know if budding was on purpose. It's probably unnecessary. Excuse me. Turn on the mic a little bit. You could cough, you turn off the mic. It's common courtesy, but if you turn it on too quick, well, then you catch the end of it. Anyway, continuing with this next story. I don't know. Well, I don't know what commentary I can give about the way the VA treats medical marijuana patients and now people in the cannabis industry that I haven't given already. I mean, and that other people haven't given already as well. It's shameful, disgraceful, however you want to put it. They feel people who join the military, they fill their heads full of, oh, we love you, you're great, your sacrifices for your nation. When you come back, we'll take care of you. But when they come back, they find out that it's not really true. So you have to wonder how many other things they were told that didn't turn out to quite be true. This next story from People.com. Paris Jackson defends her medical marijuana use after being slammed as druggy on Twitter. First of all, a lot of publications, if you will, do this. One person on Twitter called her a druggie. There are hundreds of millions of Twitter users. One person called her a druggie. That becomes a title that is Paris Jackson was slammed as a druggie on Twitter for admitting to her medical marijuana use. Paris Jackson defended her use of marijuana after she was accused of being a druggie on Twitter for admitting she uses it as medicine. So basically one person calling her a druggie, one tweet generated this entire story for People magazine. I mean, look, it's great work if you can get it. I would love to write articles just based on one tweet and just talk about that tweet. I don't do that, but I could, and that'd be great. It'd make my life a lot easier. I just talk about tweets. But one person calling you a druggie on Twitter, you know what that's called? Being a troll. And I submit that this person was a troll. More on that coming up. The 21-year-old model and daughter of the late Michael Jackson was initially asked by a fan how she came up with her recipe for, quote, spaghetti grilled cheese sandwiches with mozzarella. Okay, that don't sound too bad. for which she tweeted back marijuana in response. That's kind of funny. Now, that's when things went downhill, so to speak. And I have the tweets here, the screenshots of the tweets that I'll bring up. Just going to get this one off the screen. There we go. God, you think I'd be better with graphics by now. This broadcasting software. It's only like episode 415, and I've done hundreds of other shows on this broadcasting software as well. Maybe not hundreds, but dozens upon dozens. And you think I'd just be better at it. Anyway, here's the first tweet. Another Twitter user replied, "Druggie, I bet you do meth too. Your dad must be ashamed of you, degenerate." Jackson quickly defended herself and her use of the organic medicinal plant. First of all, this largest 85, this person that wrote to Paris Jackson, an obvious troll for a couple reasons. Words like druggie and degenerate, one word answers, one word responses that are just, the only reason they're used is to get a response out of someone. But I think the reference to her father really points to this person being a troll. Your dad must be ashamed of you. First of all, everybody in the world knows that Michael Jackson is dead. So he's not ashamed of her. He's dead. But also, Michael Jackson, you may remember, was a world-renowned alleged pedophile. So I think the reference to your dad must be ashamed of you. I think the whole thing is a troll. But of course, she took it, as many celebrities do, and went off, as they say. This next... well, first she said, because an organic medicinal plant from Mother Earth with dozens of healing properties that is legal where I live and used to help suffering people around the world equals meth, she responded. Instead of taking poison of addictive pharmaceuticals, this incredible medicine from the earth has been prescribed to me to help with my depression, anxiety, PTSD, and insomnia. And then someone else, apparently, scroll down a little bit here. Another Twitter user wrote that they felt 100 times better since they stopped smoking every day. Jackson clarified that she only uses occasionally as needed and refrains from working or driving. That's that tweet here. She says, well, doing it every day, dude, is clearly an issue. I don't do it as soon as I wake up unless it's a rare occasion. I don't do it when I work, and I don't do it when I drive. It's medicine to me and not an everyday thing. Even though it's not addictive, it sounds like you were abusing it. Okay, there's a couple problems I have with this. First of all, this first guy, I smoke cannabis every day for 17 years, and I'll tell you all one thing. Mentally, I feel 100 times better since I have stopped. So what? Good for you. Who cares? I don't get this person. They give their personal experience, and they say, and that's supposed to prove something. What does that prove? All it proves you felt better after you stopped smoking. Okay. So what? So what? I feel better when I exercise. But if I go up to fat people and start telling them, hey, you should get your lard-ass butt on a treadmill, that's going to cause problems for them and for me and for us together. Who cares? Good for you. You should have the choice is the point. You felt better after you stopped smoking. You smoked every day for 17 years. Fine. Who cares? Of course, Paris Jackson responds with, well, doing it every day, dude, is clearly an issue. So, what? According to who? According to Dr. Paris Jackson? I mean, I don't want to come across as, some sort of a-hole, but let me tell you something, honey. I use marijuana every day. It's not an issue. I would submit that I'm more well-adjusted than you. I have a better work ethic than you. I'm reading this story about how you were locked up for involuntary mental evaluation, mental observation, whatever you want to call it. I'm doing fine. I'm doing shows. I'm writing articles. I'm taking care of a family. I'm getting people places. I'm doing all kinds of stuff. It's not an issue. It's a stupid thing to say. And I understand she defended herself, and she's probably not, the brightest bulb in the box. I mean, what has she done in her life? She's been crushed by the shadow of this probably monstrous person that was her father on one hand, and this amazingly talented, famous musician on the other. They're both the same person. It's probably nuts. She probably has all kinds of problems. But you put your opinion out there on Twitter, well, I'm going to say something about it. It's not an issue. Worry about yourself. Dude who smoked for 17 years and stopped, worry about yourself. Paris Jackson, worry about yourself. Don't feed the trolls. Move on with your life. If you use it, fine. You don't drive, fine. You only use it occasionally, don't use it in the morning? Fine. You have the choice to do it whenever you want, however much of it you want, as often as you want to do it. That's the point. Notwithstanding your silly opinions that I don't care about. I don't care if you think it's an issue. I don't care if you smoked for a long time and then you stopped. Who cares? It just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. I know social media makes everybody think that their opinion is so important. It's so important. If there's something that they think, they should tell everybody about it. And if there's something that they see that they don't like, it should be taken down so nobody can see it. Social media has gives every person on it this undeserved sense of importance when you're not at all. I'm sorry. You're not important. I'm not important. There are over 7 billion people on this planet. You are a speck of dust on a large beach filled with sand. You're a kernel of sand on a large beach filled. You get my point. You're insignificant. I don't say that to make you feel bad, but let's keep things in perspective. You're nobody. I'm nobody. And for us to feel like, oh God, I need to tell everybody on Twitter, I need to tell Paris Jackson that I stopped smoking. Or Paris Jackson feels need to tell everybody that if she thinks if people use marijuana every day, it's an issue. By the way, by all means, tweet it all day. But once you start to feel like this is really important, what I think is really important, everyone needs to know it, they probably don't. They probably don't. This show, I do this show 5 days a week. Most people have no reason to watch this show. Most people will get nothing out of this show. People who don't use cannabis, they don't care. A lot of people who do use cannabis, they don't care either. They're not following the news or being active or whatever. They're going on with their life and using cannabis if it helps them. They're hanging out with their friends, taking care of their family, whatever they're doing. Even what I'm doing right here, in the grand scheme of things, is nothing. I do it anyway because maybe it makes a small difference, makes a small ripple somewhere, and that's helpful. That's great. If I can be of help somewhere, that's what I'm going to try to do. But I'm not going to sit here and think, oh man, millions of people should be watching this show and everybody should be hanging on my every word and find out what I have to say. Not really. I know me. I'm sometimes amusing. I'm rather intelligent. I can remember things. I can retain things. I can put coherent sentences together for long periods of time. But that doesn't make me special. You know how many people do what I do? A lot. You know how many people write the kind of articles that I write and do the kind of activism that I do? A lot. Which is one of the reasons that the marijuana law reform has had such momentum over the last several years, because there's a lot of us doing this. And each does our little part, and it comes together, and it makes a big wave of momentum. But don't ever think that your opinion is just really, that's just really what people need, because it's not. It's not. You need to get over it. You really do. You need to get over yourself. I do think because you're on Twitter and you're on Facebook and people follow you and you got this account and they want to hear what you have to say, that makes you some sort of guru or something, but it doesn't. Sorry, I'm not one either. If you're here looking for a cannabis guru, I don't know, you have to go down to the Cannabis Guru channel, I guess. I don't know. This is cannabis news. You shot past the channel you were looking for, and you landed here. I appreciate it, but I'm no guru. This last story from CNBC.com. Marijuana use among baby boomers rose tenfold over a decade as seniors seek out pot for medical treatment. How about that? Marijuana use among seniors in the U.S. rose tenfold over a decade as more baby boomers use it to treat a range of ailments, including pain, anxiety, and depression. This is according to a University of Colorado study. Some 3.7% of U.S. adults aged 65 or older used cannabis in the past year, a more than tenfold increase from the 0.3% in 2007. Data from the National Survey of Drug Use and Health showed. Obviously, that 0.3% in 2007 might have been low because of people not wanting to admit that they use marijuana, but even if it is a little bit low, going from that to 3.7% is quite a large jump. It was low for obvious reasons. Baby boomers have been subjected longer than anybody to the propaganda that surrounds marijuana and the lies that surround marijuana use. So a lot of them avoided it, and now that it's legal and they're learning because of the internet and other things that it's not as bad as they were told. And well, now they're old and they're in a lot of pain, and people say, well, this may help your pain. And they're like, well, if I was lied to, let's give this a shot. So it's not surprising that the things are on the rise when it comes to senior marijuana use. In 2017, 9.4% of adults between 60 and 64 reported using marijuana. That's up from less than 2% 10 years earlier. So it's, I don't know what else I can say about that either. It's great. It's great. I'm great. It's a shame that older people back in the day, if you will, didn't have that option because they believed what they were told and they didn't have a way to find out anything other news, other information. They didn't have the internet. They had no way to refute what they were told growing up, and it was people they trusted, so they figured, hey, they must be right. Marijuana causes cancer, kills brain cells, leads to the gutter, so on and so forth. But now they're finding out that those things aren't true, and at least the people who are seniors now have the option to actually find some relief in their later years by getting over the propaganda and past the lies about cannabis and actually using it and trying it and seeing it for themselves. How wonderful it is. Good for them. Believe me, I'm looking forward to being a senior who uses marijuana. Look forward to it very much. I'll be old. I'm done working. I'm just using marijuana. That's all I'm doing. Let me see the grandkids. That's fine. Send them home. Back to the marijuana. That's the kind of senior I'm going to be. And I say I'll be retired, but I'll probably just start doing something like this. I guess by the time I'm a senior, I guess it'll be a hologram, coming off of an Amazon drone in the front of your house. I have no idea. It'll be cool, though. I'll be here croaking out cannabis news 5 days a week for you for the Marijuana Times. Thanks, everybody, for checking us out. It's the end of another week. Next week, episode 420 is coming. That is awesome. Thank you to Natureside, nature-side.com, and their organic, all-natural pesticides. Thank you to all of you who watch on YouTube and Vimeo, who listen on Apple Podcasts. You're awesome. Keep liking and sharing and commenting and spreading the truth about cannabis with the show. Thanks for watching and listening today. We'll see you next week right here on Cannabis News.